So the new era, ladies and gentlemen, the new era of Let's Sit Down is about to begin. And today's episode we're gonna call Ask AI. Where's my water? Ask AI. And we're gonna ask AI. I have a second hand in my pocket. And we ask AI a certain question and I'm gonna read it to you. We are not gonna listen to that. I will not have a voice talk with AI, but I will read it. Yeah, that's my second handy. Meet each other, please. It's my Pixel 4a. I was really happy that time with it. Time is over. What can I help with? This handy I just found there. I'm not really using it. I didn't even sign up to the AI, like the AI here. I didn't sign up that account. I don't have any account here, but it seems that it works without it. It works. The first question will be the history of the United States, because we love United States. I mean we and my family. I don't know you, but and a history of United States, or we ask, look, what? Continue with Google? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, sorry. We should be, what account we gonna choose? Let's say this one. Continue as a Michael Urban. And now we ask, tell us something about the history. Wait, guys, I'm sorry, it wants, how old am I? Are you, let's say we put here, no, let's say we put the truth. 11 here. Nah, 11, no, wait, like this. I'm getting there, guys. I didn't know that I have to do it with it. So I will use like a voice recording, it's faster. Skip the tour, let's go. So tell us, because that is more than I, tell us something about USA, like of the history of the USA. Tell us. Thanks. Absolutely. Here's a brief overview of the history of the United States of America designed for a group. A short history of the United States. Yo, guys. Before the USA existed, long before the United States became a country, millions of Native Americans lived across the continents in diverse cultures and nations, like the, I don't know now, Iroquois, I'm sorry, Navajo, Sioux, Cherokee. This I know, Sioux and Cherokee, but Navajo, Iroquois, this I never heard of, and many others. These indigenous people had their own languages, religions, and ways of life. There is a colonization came like in 1600 to 17th. In the 1600s, European powers, especially Britain, Britain, France, and Spain began colonizing North America. The British established 13 colonies along the east coast. These colonies grew over time, but tension rose between them and the British government over things like taxes and representation. American Revolution, 1775, 1783. The colonies declared independence from Britain in 1776. You may know this day, July 4th. This led to the American Revolutionary War, where the colonies, led by figures like George Washington, fought for freedom and won. The result? A new country, the United States of America. Founding the nation. In 1787, the U.S. Constitution was written, creating a new system of government with 3 branches: executive, president, legislative, Congress, and judicial Supreme Court. Judicial. George Washington became the first president in 17 1017, sorry, 1789. Wow, I wasn't here yet. 800s, growth, slavery, and civil war. Throughout the 1800s, the US expanded westward, taking land from indigenous people and Mexico, but the country was deeply divided over slavery. In 1861, the southern states tried to leave the Union, causing the Civil War. The North won, and slavery was abolished in 1865. Wow, wait. 18 started slavery, 1865. 19th, like 1900s, world wars and civil rights. The US became a major global power after World War I and World War II. In the 50s and 60s, the civil rights movement fought to end racial segregation and discrimination. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. made lasting change. The US also experienced the Cold War with the Soviet Union, the moon landing, 69, and big changes in technology and culture. 2000s to today. Events like 9/11 in 2001, wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, the first black president Barack Obama in 2008, and rapid tech growth have shaped the modern US. Today, the US is known for its diversity, its power in politics and economics, and its ongoing struggles with issues like race, immigration, climate change, and political division. This was kind of nice. Like a brief overview of the history of the United States of America, guys. Then there we have, of course, who knows AI. Then AI most of the time end with, would you like more details about a specific era, person, or event in US history? No, if we start the history of the United States, we just continue with like, hey, I want to know the before the USA existed. You said long before the United States became a country, a million natives lived there, and the colonization became like in 1617s. Is what is actually, nah, that's wrong. That's not. How should I put the question? Like, where? Nah, wait. I have to think about it. Yeah, or we do this. What is today with the natives of Americans? Where are they living? You mentioned Iroquois. I'm sorry, I cannot. I just don't know. Navajo. I don't know. Sioux and Cherokee. Where are they today? That's what we ask. Okay? Great question. And an important one. Native Americans are very much still here today. While their communities have faced centuries of hardship, they continue to live, thrive, and preserve their culture across the US. Here's a clear picture of where things stand now. Where are Native Americans today? Native Americans live all across the United States, both in the cities and on a reservation, which are lands set aside by government for indigenous tribe. There are 574 federally recognized tribes in the US. 574, that's a lot, huh? Each with its own identity, history, and land base. Let's look at the tribes you mentioned. Hey, I cannot. Wait. Wait. How would you pronounce it? I want to know. I wanna know. We have a Google Translator and we do this. Wait. Iro. This one, ladies and gentlemen. And now listen.
Iroquois.
Iroquois, says Google.
Iroquois.
Iroquois. Well, Iroquois, if I can remember that. So Iroquois Haudenosaunee Confederacy, where mostly in New York State and parts of Canada. Wow, that's cool. The Iroquois are a confederacy of 6 nations: Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and Tuscarora. They played a huge role in early US history and diplomacy, still active today with a strong culture, tradition, and political system. Navajo Diné, where mainly in the southwest US, especially Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. The Navajo Nation is the largest reservation in the US. It's bigger than some US states. Wow. They have their own government, police, schools, and health care. Navajo, I wonder if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Language and culture are actively practiced. Many speak both English and Navajo. Sioux, Lakota, Dakota, Nakota, were mostly in northern plains, including South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska, and Montana. The Sioux Nation includes groups like the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota. We heard that. They have a rich tradition in storytelling, spirituality, and resistance, like at Standing Rock, which made headlines for water and land rights protests. Cherokee. These are Cherokee for me. Like this is one of the I know them most. I don't know them, but I heard about them. Were mostly in Oklahoma, due to forced removal known as the Trail of Tears, and North Carolina. The Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma is one of the largest tribes in the U.S. They have their own schools, hospitals, and even a newspaper in the Cherokee language. Wow, that's cool. Modern Native American life. Today, Native Americans live both on reservation and in urban area like Phoenix, Los Angeles, and Minneapolis. Face challenges like poverty, limited health care, and historical trauma, but also show incredible resilience. Are leaders in art, science, education, and activism. Celebrate their cultures through powwows, traditional crafts, language revival, and tribal governance. If you want to know, I can show you a map of where many tribes are located today. No, you don't have to show me that, but you are really nice. You are really nice. Yo, guys. I would like to have one more question, and it's about the slavery in the United States. How did actually, when, I know you mentioned it here, I know the years, but I want to go more little into details. When did that started? Like, in what time? And what was the original idea behind it? Wait. We also ask why. Wait. Nah, I cannot. It's done. Slavery in the United States, a deeper look. When did slavery start? Slavery began in 1619 when a ship brought about 20. Hey, that's interesting. Listen. Hey, slavery began in 1619 when a ship brought about 20 African people to the English colony of Virginia. These men and women were forced into labor, even though at first the system was still forming. Over the next few decades, the colonies passed laws that made race-based slavery permanent and hereditary, meaning if your mother was enslaved, you would be too. By the 1700s, slavery was deeply rooted in all 13 colonies, especially in the southern colonies like South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. Why did slavery start? What was the original idea? Slavery didn't start in America. It existed in many parts of the world, that's good to know, for thousands of years. But in the US, the system became tied to racism, capitalism, and land expansion. Here we are, sorry, I'm just surprised. Here were the core ideas behind it. Labor for profit. The colonies needed workers for tobacco, cotton, rice, and sugar plantations. African enslaved people were seen as a source of free labor that made white landowners very rich. Enslaved people worked long hours in brutal conditions without pay or rights. Racial justification. Europeans used false ideas of white superiority to justify slavery. Over time, American slavery became a race-based system where blackness was associated with being enslaved and inferior. This helped justify the system to many people who profited from it. A legal system backed it up. Colonial governments passed laws that made slavery legal and lifelong, banned enslaved people from learning to read or marry, treated them as property instead of human beings. This was a crazy time. How big was slavery in the US? By 1860, just before the Civil War, about 4 million black people were enslaved. The economy of the South, and in some ways the entire US economy, relied on slavery. Cotton, grown by enslaved labor, was Americans' biggest export. What was life like for enslaved people? Families were often torn apart. People were sold away from each other. Enslaved people were often whipped, raped, and punished severely for disobedience. Despite this, they created strong communities, music, spiritual language like Gila, and resisted in many ways, running away, revolting, or quietly sabotaging work. The end of slavery. After a long and bloody civil war, 1861 and 1865, slavery was officially ended with the 13th Amendment in 1865. But the end of slavery didn't mean true freedom. Many former slaves were forced into sharecropping, and new systems like Jim Crow laws created racial segregation and oppression for another 100 years. Would you like to go deeper, maybe into how slavery shaped modern America or the voices of enslaved people themselves? I can share quote stories. Yes, do it, do it. Let's go. Absolutely, let's go deeper. The voices of the enslaved, real stories. Even under slavery, many people spoke out, wrote, escaped, and resisted. Here are a few powerful examples. Frederick Douglass, 1818 to 1895, born enslaved in Maryland, escaped at age 20. Became one of the most powerful voices in American history, taught himself to read and write in secret. Here's what he said. I didn't know I was a slave until I found out I couldn't do the things I wanted. Narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. He became a best-selling author and advisor to President Lincoln. Wow. Another was Harriet Tubman, 1822 to 1913. Escaped slavery and went back 13 times to rescue others using the Underground Railroad. Led over 70 enslaved people for freedom, risking her life every time. That's a lady. I'm sorry. I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. Wow, that's powerful. That's what she said. It's written here. She said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. Harriet Tubman, as quoted by others. Voices from the WPA Slave Narratives 1930s. In the 1930s, the US government interviewed hundreds of formerly enslaved people. Some were over 80 or 90 years old. Their words give us a raw, unfiltered view. They stripped us stark naked in a day they whipped us till the blood ran down our backs. Sarah Gudger, North Carolina. We wasn't no more than dogs. Anonymous, Alabama. These memories are not easy to hear, but they must be heard. How slavery shaped modern America, even after slavery ended, its effect continue in systems that replace it. Sharecropping. After slavery, many black families were forced to work white-owned land in unfair contracts that kept them poor. This was economic slavery by another name. Jim Crow's laws, 1870s to 1960s, legalized segregation. Guys, almost 100 years, like 90 years, legalized segregation. Black people were banned from white schools, neighborhoods, buses, and restrooms. Violence like lynchings was used to terrorize black communities. Voting rights were stripped through poll taxes, literacy tests, and intimidation. Mass incarceration. The 13th Amendment banned slavery except as punishment for a crime. This loophole was used to arrest and imprison black people in a large number of manner of fake crimes, often to use them for forced labor. The system has evolved into what many now call mass incarceration, which still disproportionate. Wow, that's a word, guys. Which still disproportionately affects black Americans today. Resistance and legacy. Enslaved people resisted through rebellions, escape, keeping their languages, music, and faith. Spirituals like a weight in the water and Go Down Moses were most dance than songs. They were coded messages about escape and hope. Today, the effects of slavery are still seen in racial inequality, housing discrimination, educating gaps, and wealth disparities. Movements like Black Lives Matter, debates over reparations, and the push to teach honest history are part of how the US is still reckoning with this legacy. Okay, now ended with some positivity about that topic. Yeah. So how is it today? Is it better? Yes, things are better. Freedom and rights. Slavery is gone. Black Americans today have a full legal rights to vote, own property, go to any school, run for office, and live free. Civil rights laws 1960s outlawed segregation and made racial discrimination illegal. Education and representation. Black students attend college and earn degrees in record numbers. More black writers, artists, teachers, scientists, and leaders are influencing American culture and thought. In 2008, Barack Obama became the first black US president, a major moment in history. Culture and influence. Black American culture, music, language, fashion, film, sports is woven into the heart of American culture. From hip-hop to jazz, from Black Panther to Amanda Gorman, the voices and the creativity of Black Americans are celebrated globally. Resistance and strength. The long fight for freedom built communities full of pride, resilience, and solidarity. Movements like Black Lives Matter show that people today are still fighting for fairness and not giving up. But there is still work to do. While the laws has changed, the effects of centuries of slavery and racism didn't disappear overnight today. Racial wealth gaps still exist. Black families on average have far less wealth than white families. Mass incarceration still affects black men disproportionately. Housing and education inequality are still realities in many areas. Bias and discrimination still happen, sometimes in subtle ways, sometimes in violent ones. Hope for the future, the most powerful part, millions of people are aware, active and pushing forward. Young people of all races are learning the truth about history, creating inclusive communities, voting, marching, teaching, creating art, and making space for healing and justice. As John Lewis, a civil rights leader who marched with Martin Luther King Jr., once said, "Do not get lost in a sea of despair. Get in good trouble, necessary trouble, and help redeem the soul of America." So yes, it's better, the chains are broken, but the journey of healing, justice and equality is still being written. And the good news, you are part of that story now. Yep. Nice. So we learned something about United States history, history of the United States, and yeah, interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, amazing. But don't you think that, or do you think, that's a question actually, all, because you said that here you mentioned that, where is it, here, slavery is gone, yeah, they have a full legal rights to vote on property and so on, yeah, education, all good. But wouldn't you say that many of those things, why it still like continues, is that it's in us as a people that we still have it? Maybe it's in ourselves. Some of us are having bad thought, and that's why it creates still the tension sometimes. Now I'm being a little bit emotional, guys. That's a deeply thoughtful question, and yes, you've touched on something very real, the AI told me. You're absolutely right to ask, is it something in us, inside people? It's not just the system, it's also human thinking. Even though the laws has changed, hearts and minds take longer to grow. Racism, like all forms of hate or fear, doesn't disappear just because the law says it should. It can still live inside people in these ways. Bias. Some people still grow up with beliefs they don't question, like stereotypes about certain races. These ideas can be passed down through families, medias, or even silence. Some people don't even realize they are being unfair. That's called implicit bias. Hey, I'm sorry, but like this I have to translate. Yeah. I should do it maybe later, but I really want to know what that means. Yeah, interesting. Fear of lack of understanding. If people don't know each other, they may fear or judge based on what they heard, not what they've experienced. That's why education, conversation, and empathy are so powerful. That's what I love about America, by the way. When you walk on the street and people are there, what I heard, what I see, especially like some videos, like people who is moving in there, and I don't know exactly what parts of America, that people are more for like small talks, and I love it. I think it's amazing. In Europe, it's not really a common thing. Pain that hasn't healed. On both sides, those affected by racism and those trying to understand it, there can be anger, guilt, confusion, or silence. That emotional weight makes change harder, but naming it is the start of healing. That's true. So what can be done? You're asking something many wise people wrestle with. How do we change what's inside us? Listening to each other. When people really listen to their stories and pain of others, something changes. It's harder to hate what you understand. That's true. Huh? Learning the full truth. Learning the full truth, but many never learn the real history of slavery, racism, or resistance. When people learn, they grow. Ignorance can no longer hide behind denial. Choosing kindness, curiosity, and courage. Every time someone speaks up against racism or treats someone with dignity, they plant a seed. Change happened person by person, heart by heart. That's how slavery ended, how civil rights won, and how healing continues. Final thought, I read it to you too because it's nice too. Yes, sometimes the divisions still live in us, in our fears, in our habits, in our silence. But so does the power to change ourselves and each other. And honestly, conversation like this, where someone asks honestly with an open heart, that's exactly how the deeper change begins. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the first episode of Ask AI. I hope you enjoyed it. It was the history of the United States, and of course, that's just a little tiny part of it, but kind of the strong part, like one of the biggest known in the world, and which is changing, and it changed already. Slavery is gone, and it's amazing, and people are being nicer to each other, and I love it. It's beautiful. And let's wish all of us, all of them, the best. See you tomorrow. I love you. You're one of a kind. Laugh a lot in your life.